everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is a bitter cold day down here in Georgia, and I'm getting all of my stuff together to head down to Florida to kick off the first tournament. So stop by the Dugout Bait and Tackle. You guys have seen a lot of my videos here, and I came to pick up my new trailer, and I'll get to that in the next video. But noticed a buddy of mine had his boat rigged up with a different type of steering system for his motor. And I wanted to kind of go over the two different steering setups if you're running a little electric outboard, and the pros and cons of each, help you guys guide you along the process and how you determine which one might be best for you. So as you guys have seen in my kayak setup for 2022, I chose the foot controlled steering for my Torqeedo 1103. I love this option. It's worked really well for me, but when I got in my friend's boat and tried out the option that he has, I could see how this could be a really viable option for a lot of anglers out there. So I want to talk about the two different types, pros and cons, and let y'all decide what might be best for you. So my buddy Jordan Marshall, he was our Hobie Angler of the Year this year. This is his kayak, and he went with Tim Percy's steering system. And it's a handheld steering system that sits right behind the throttle of your motor. Jordan's got a Newport motor outfitted on his kayak. So when I got in his, I was able to kind of try the two side by side, see the pros and cons, and kind of figure out how they handled and when one might outperform the other, and vice versa. So as far as pros and cons go, let's start with my setup. The things I really like about the foot control steering is I'm able to operate hands-free when I'm moving. Whether it be I'm running along a bank, I can make a bunch of casts, set my motor on 1.5 or 1 miles an hour, keep my throttle moving, and move the boat to stay along the contours of the bank as I'm fishing. So people that fish fast or like to power fish shallow like that, that's kind of a neat option because you're able to do that hands-free while still moving along. It's essentially like having a trolling motor controlled by your feet. Another thing I really like about it, the cables run through the whole of the kayak, so they're not exposed, meaning they'll be a little less susceptible to wear and tear over a long period of time. And it's a pretty easy system to operate. Let's talk about the cons of this setup. So right out the gate, the biggest thing I noticed that could detract from this setup is the fact that it takes up a little bit of deck space, and it could make it to where you're not able to use your top two rod tubes. I don't have a problem with that, but if you have a lot of stuff in the deck, putting a lot of rods in there, it does make it a little bit more difficult to slide the rods in and out of the tubes with the foot controlled steering. It does take up a little bit of deck space, so if you're someone that likes to have a lot of open room, this could be something that you might want to stay away from. Let's talk about Jordan's setup. So when I first got on that boat, what I noticed right away is, just as expected, you're not able to have a hands-free system, but the turning on it is very smooth and very easy to operate. And right away, I noticed the difference from jumping into mine into his on how much more open the deck space was. And that is definitely a huge perk. As far as the turning radius goes, I would have figured that my setup might have turned a little bit sharper. And it did. It maybe turned a tiny bit sharper than this one, but that could be because I'm using a different motor setup that's just a little bit faster than this one. But I was impressed by the turning radius of this steering system over here. So I'd say between the two, turning radius is very similar. The only other noticeable cons I can say with this setup, and like I said, a lot of us haven't ran this. I know Tim Percy has, and it works really well, and it looks like a pretty foolproof system. The only thing I would maybe be concerned about is the cables are exposed along the side. Maybe they could get tangled up in something, maybe they won't. But the only other thing is that you're not able to have hands-free. So with the foot control steering, you can rig your rods, you can move along a bank and fish fast. But with this, you're able to have a much more open deck space, and you can still probably do some hands-free stuff if you're moving from point A to point B, and just keeping your motor and just keeping the dial in a neutral position. You still can probably do some hands-free stuff, just not to the degree that you can do over here. So what it really comes down to, you guys, is personal preference. Both of these systems are extremely user-friendly. They make a lot of sense. Anybody that has a Torqeedo or any other style of motor, it's a no-brainer to get either foot control steering or Tim Percy's steering system on their kayaks. One more con over here on the foot control is that you do have to drill a couple of holes in the back of your kayak. So if you're someone that doesn't like putting a lot of holes in the kayak that weren't there prior, maybe not be the route for you. Like I said, y'all, it's all about personal preference. You really can't go wrong. These are excellent options for anybody that has a motor. All about whether you want the extra space or a little bit more hands-free. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know, a lot of y'all, I haven't heard a lot of people that have ran this system over here with Tim Percy steering. It looks like an incredible option. So if y'all have ran this for a while, let me know in the comments. Let me know some additional pros and cons that I may not have covered. But hopefully this helps you guys with a very basic rundown of the ideal steering situations for kayak fishing. So I'm going to drop product links to both setups here in this bio description. If you guys are within several hours of the shop, I highly recommend paying these guys a visit, having them install this on your kayak. They're great people. They take good care of you. A lot of you guys have checked them out through my previous videos. Thank you for doing that. I know you all have great experiences. These guys will treat you right and get you hooked up with whatever steering system best suits your needs.